"Don't move," Madison whispered, her voice trembling between command and plea, "or she'll see you." Behind the desk, a little girl in a paper crown giggled, unaware that her mother had just asked a janitor to pretend to be her husband, for love, not lies. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Let's begin. The hum of fluorescent lights echoed through the empty corridors of Clarke and Company Industries. Nathan Ward, 35, the janitor who never complained, pushed his mop bucket across polished marble floors that reflected the skyline outside. To him, this building wasn't a kingdom of glass and power, it was where rent money lived. He worked evenings so he could walk his 8-year-old son, Liam, to school each morning. Quiet routine, honest work. But that night, something broke the rhythm. "Mr. Ward?" The voice carried authority softened by exhaustion. Madison Clarke, CEO, stood by the conference room doorway, her heels abandoned beside her briefcase. She looked nothing like the woman in the business magazines, her eyes were rimmed red, her posture trembling at the edges. "I need a favor," she said. "A strange one." Nathan straightened, unsure whether to laugh or brace. "My daughter, Sophie, she's 7. Her father left months ago. She has a school play next week, and she says she can't go on stage unless both her parents are there." Nathan blinked. "You want me to pretend to be him?" Madison's smile was small and desperate. "Just for 2 weeks, her birthday and the play. She needs to feel safe again." Silence hung between them, full of fluorescent hum and fragile trust. Then Nathan said quietly, "If it helps her, I'll do it." Madison exhaled like she'd been holding her breath all year. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what this means." Outside, city lights flickered like 1,000 unseen witnesses to the moment two strangers decided to save a child's heart. Saturday morning smelled of frosting and nerves. Nathan wiped his palms on his jeans for the 5th time, glancing through the bakery window where pastel balloons trembled against the glass. Liam tugged his sleeve. "Dad, are we really going to a CEO's birthday party?" "Guess so," Nathan said. "But today, we're just family, remember?" Inside, Madison waved from a corner table. She looked softer out of the boardroom, hair loose, smile uncertain, like someone learning how to breathe again. Beside her sat Sophie, a small mirror of her mother, wearing a paper crown and the kind of grin that could rewrite gravity. "Nathan," Madison called. "And this must be Liam." The two kids locked eyes, shy for all of 3 seconds before bursting into giggles over matching cupcakes. For a moment, it was just normal. Then the bell above the bakery door chimed again. In walked 2 men in sharp suits, executives from Clarke and Company. "Madison," one of them said with a rehearsed grin. "Didn't expect to see you here. Family day?" Madison froze. Sophie, without hesitation, grabbed Nathan's hand and beamed. "This is my dad." The words landed like thunder in a porcelain shop. The executives blinked. Madison's jaw tensed, then she smiled, calm, effortless. "Yes," she said. "Nathan Ward." Nathan felt heat climb his neck but played along, squeezing Sophie's hand. The girl's pride was radiant. "Well," one exec said, "good to finally meet the mystery man. You've got quite a daughter." Nathan laughed softly. "Yeah. She's pretty great." When the men left, Madison let out a quiet laugh, half shock, half relief. "You handled that perfectly," she said. He smiled. "You said pretend. I'm just following the script." But as Sophie hugged him goodnight, her tiny arms around his neck, Nathan realized, somewhere between frosting and laughter, the line between pretending and feeling had already started to blur. 2 weeks can change more than anyone expects. By the 3rd morning, Madison Clarke, the woman whose calendar once ruled entire departments, was standing in her own kitchen at 7 a.m., hair tied in a messy bun, pouring cereal for 2 laughing kids and 1 amused janitor. Nathan had offered to help with school drop-offs. It started as logistics, became habit, and soon turned into the best part of everyone's day. Liam and Sophie sat shoulder to shoulder in the back seat, trading jokes and stickers like old friends. Madison rode in silence at first, unsure how to fit into the easy rhythm. But Nathan had a way of softening moments without trying. "You ever notice," he said one morning, "how kids don't judge how good your day is by what you earn, just by whether you show up?" Madison glanced at him, startled by the simplicity of it. "I used to think showing up meant attending board meetings," she murmured. He smiled. "Guess this is a better kind." That night, they all ate pizza on the living room floor. Madison, who had once measured life in quarterly reports, was now listening to Liam talk about his science project and laughing until tears formed. Sophie, sleepy and happy, leaned against Nathan's arm and whispered, "I like our team." Later, after the kids had fallen asleep, Madison lingered by the door as Nathan gathered his jacket. "You've done more for us than you realize," she said quietly. He looked up. "I didn't do anything special. I just kept the floor from getting too slippery." Madison smiled faintly. "No, Nathan. You reminded me what a home sounds like." For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a CEO trying to hold the world together, just a mother finally remembering how to live inside it. And Nathan, walking out into the cool night air, found himself wondering whether kindness always came disguised as something ordinary. Rain pattered against the tall office windows as Nathan finished wiping down the marble floors. Most nights, Madison was long gone by then, but that evening, her light was still on. Through the glass, she sat at her desk, no heels, no armor, just a woman folded into herself, a photo frame turned face down beside her. He hesitated before knocking softly. "You all right, Ms. Clarke?" She looked up, startled, then sighed. "It's Madison tonight, not Ms. Clarke. The title's tired." Nathan smiled faintly. "Fair enough." For a long moment, the only sound was the rain. Then she spoke, her voice fragile but steady. "You know, when my husband left, I told everyone I was fine. That Sophie would adapt. That I could handle it. And I did, on paper. But at home, every empty chair feels like failure." Nathan leaned against the doorframe, listening. He didn't interrupt. He'd learned that most people didn't need answers, just someone to stay. She gave a small, trembling laugh. "You must think I'm ridiculous. A CEO who can negotiate million-dollar contracts but can't explain heartbreak to her daughter." "I think," Nathan said quietly, "you're human. And I think Sophie's lucky you care enough to try." Her eyes glistened. "When she calls you Dad. I know it's pretend. But it makes her happy." Nathan nodded slowly. "It makes me happy too. Maybe that's what counts." Madison stood, walked to the window, and looked down at the glowing city. "You know," she whispered, "the company's full of people who see me as unbreakable. But the truth is, I broke a long time ago. I just learned how to keep working." Nathan stepped closer, not touching her, but near enough that his voice softened. "Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending you're made of glass." She turned then, meeting his eyes, something unspoken passing between them. Gratitude, exhaustion, maybe the beginning of trust. For the first time, Madison didn't look like a CEO at all. She looked like someone finding her way back to herself. The auditorium smelled like crayons, fresh paint, and too many nervous parents. Paper stars hung from the ceiling, swaying gently as kids in cardboard costumes whispered their lines behind the curtain. Nathan sat in the second row beside Madison, Sophie's name printed in bright purple on the program. Liam leaned forward in his seat, holding a tiny camcorder like a secret mission. Madison's hands trembled in her lap, betraying a tension she couldn't hide. She's terrified of freezing up, Madison whispered. Every night she practices, then panics at the last second. Nathan smiled gently. She's got this. You'll see. When the curtain rose, Sophie stood center stage in a paper crown that kept sliding sideways. Her line came early, "I'm not scared. I have my team." For a breath, she froze. Her little chin trembled. Then she looked toward the crowd, found Madison's nervous smile, then Nathan's steady gaze. He raised his thumb and mouthed, "Sparkle button." It was their private joke, a trick Nathan used with Liam to calm him before school. Sophie's lips twitched into a tiny grin. Then she took a breath and said it, loud and clear. "I'm not scared. I have my team." The audience clapped. Madison's hand flew to her mouth, tears spilling before she could stop them. When the play ended, Sophie sprinted into Nathan's arms. "You came," she whispered. "You and Mom. You didn't leave." Madison crouched beside them, brushing a tear from her daughter's cheek. "We're right here, sweetheart." The words hung between them like a promise too big for make-believe. Later, as families filed out, Madison turned to Nathan. "I don't know how to thank you." He shook his head. "You already did." She frowned softly. When you let yourself be proud again," he said. And she realized, maybe kindness wasn't about grand gestures at all. Maybe it was about staying, even when you could have walked away. Monday morning arrived softer than usual. The storm that had ruled Madison's life, deadlines, silence, distance, seemed to have broken. Sunlight spilled through the office glass, catching on her daughter's drawing taped to the wall, "My family, Mom, me, and Mr. Nathan." Nathan walked in carrying his mop bucket, the same as always, except today Madison met him with a smile that didn't belong to the CEO of Clarke and Company. It belonged to a mother, and maybe, to a friend. "Morning, Mr. Ward," she teased gently. "Or should I say, Director?" He blinked. "Director of what?" Madison slid a folder across her desk. Inside was a printed offer letter. "Director of Community and Care." "It's something new," she explained. "A program to make this company more human, family support, volunteer projects, outreach. I need someone who knows people better than policies. Someone like you." Nathan stared at the paper as if it might vanish. "Madison, I mop floors. I fix coffee machines. I don't run departments." She stepped closer, eyes warm. "You build trust, Nathan. You remind people that kindness still belongs in the building. That's rarer than any degree." For a long moment, neither spoke. Then he laughed softly. "You know, I only said yes because Sophie asked." Madison smiled. "And now I'm asking." He looked down, tracing the edge of the letter. "Liam and I could use a little stability." "Then say yes," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because you already changed ours." Nathan finally nodded. "All right, boss." "Friend," Madison corrected. "Just friend." That afternoon, as he packed away his cleaning supplies for the last time, Nathan passed the reflection of himself in the polished floor, a man who'd shown up to help a child pretend for 2 weeks and somehow ended up rebuilding a family. Sometimes, he thought, pretending was just the first step to making something real. Summer arrived like forgiveness, slow, warm, and full of laughter. The Clarke and Company annual picnic spread across a city park that smelled of lemonade and cut grass. Tents lined the field, kids chased balloons, and for once, no one talked about quarterly earnings. Nathan stood by the grill in rolled-up sleeves, tongs in hand, while Liam and Sophie sprinted through sprinklers, shrieking with joy. Madison watched them from a nearby table, her heels abandoned in the grass, sunlight softening her face. "Mr. Director of Community and Care," teased one of the executives, clapping Nathan on the shoulder. "You've got the best attendance record in company history." Nathan chuckled. "Turns out people like showing up when they're treated like people." Across the field, Sophie and Liam ran up with paper crowns made from napkins and tape. "Dad, Miss Madison, you're both kings and queens of the grill," Sophie announced, crowning them with dramatic flair. Madison laughed so hard she had to steady herself against Nathan's arm. When the kids darted away again, Madison lingered. "You know," she said quietly, "I used to think success meant building something no one could shake. Now I think it means building something worth coming home to." Nathan turned to her, smile gentle. "You've built that, Madison. For all of us." For a moment, they stood together in the gold of late afternoon, not CEO and janitor, not pretend parents, just two people who had found peace in the same place. Liam waved from across the field, shouting, "Picture time." Madison grabbed the lemonade pitcher, Nathan adjusted Sophie's crooked paper crown. The camera clicked, freezing the small, perfect chaos of laughter, sunlight, and found family. Later, as the photo printed on glossy paper, Madison pinned it on her office wall beside her daughter's drawing. No labels. No titles. Just home. And for Nathan Ward, the man who once thought kindness was a quiet thing, it became the loudest, truest story of his life. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.